TikTok, it's time to rock. Brad, I almost feel as if Hoss should be like in the green room waiting for us to do like this big, massive introduction for the guy, because we haven't seen him for how many weeks, bro?
It's been a while, that's for sure.
It's been too long. Oh,
yeah.
Hoss.
I know. Well, I haven't shaved since the last time I saw you guys, so I'm starting to grow a little beard, you know. Although you can't see it very well because most of my hair is silver, so it just blends in with my face.
Yeah. We were talking about that in the green room, the three hairies. So, we're looking forward to that. We're going to have a hair growing competition. So, I'm going to tell you one thing, though, Hoss. Having a grey beard is really, really good for your, for your self-respect.
Yes.
For your humility as well. It's a good thing.
It's character, isn't it? What do they say? They love the salt and pepper. You know, it's mostly salt for me now. There's not much pepper in there, you know.
And ladies and gentlemen, you may have noticed too that Brad's growing a bit of a billy goat there too as well, and he was complaining about the texture and the colour of his one as well too, weren't you?
Yeah, look, there's a few areas around the side that they're showing a little bit of salt and pepper. That's for sure. You're showing my age. Awesome. I'll tell you what, mate. It's the stress of this show, this YouTube world, mate. It's so stressful.
Can be,
mate. If it's not stressful, Hoss, it's bloody entertaining.
Definitely entertaining. That's for sure. There's plenty going on.
Well, that's right. And clearly one of the great things that we like to do here is get together and hang out with everybody in the chat. Hoss is going to do a shout out with everybody. While we're talking about people in the chat and people supporting our channel, we want to say thank you very much for the subscriptions that we've had over the last couple of months. Without the support of people sharing our channel, Hoss and Brad, and people liking what we're doing here, we wouldn't have had that growth. So we take that and we say thank you to everybody. I also want to remind on behalf of my co-hosts here too to please go to our community page and our channels page and subscribe to all the people there. They're all our friends. Hoss is there, Brad's there, lots of people are there. If you're not there, let Hoss know, let Brad know, and we'll put your channel there because that's the least we can do for you guys. We're about sharing channels. We're about helping people because, guys, a lot of people helped us to get to where we were.
Yeah. It's such a great attitude to have, Andrew. And, I agree. We're all about helping. It's a community. We should be helping each other 100%.
Yeah. So I'm going to sit back and let Hoss tell us a couple of things. I know Hoss is chomping at the bit to tell us what he's been up to because, jeepers, I think it's been 4 or 5 weeks since you've been missing in action, Hoss.
Yeah, I think it probably has been. My weekends have been pretty busy touring interstate and traveling and doing a few other bits and pieces. So that's what's kept me off a Saturday 5150 show. And in fact, we were just talking in the green room, weren't we, that we might even for the next little while have to find like another time and day, which we'll do. We'll pick something good that'll work for everyone and you guys in the chat as well, of course.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So, Hoss, what have you been up to, brother? I mean, you're not answering text messages. You haven't been on our show for 5 weeks. There's obviously bigger, better things to fry, mate. What have you been up to? Tell us.
Nah, nothing much. Just watching Netflix. That's about it. No, I'm kidding. I just
been. You got to start rumors, Hoss. I mean, there's enough going around already without us adding to it.
Yeah. It's funny. During COVID, of course, people would say things like, have you seen that show on Netflix? Yeah, I've clocked Netflix. That's finished. Yeah. I've watched all of Netflix. But I've been, there's been a bit of touring stuff with Daryl Braithwaite, who's one of the usual Australian artists that I work with. And then for a few weeks there, I was a part of a Dirty Dancing show, which was like done in sort of 2,000-seat theaters. And what that was they play the movie on a huge screen, but they'd taken the music soundtrack off the soundtrack. And so it was just dialogue and sound effects and stuff like that. And then we performed all the music for the whole movie live from start to finish, even some of the incidental stuff, which is like flute and double bass and whatever. And that was really fun. The audiences loved it. That was something a bit different for me. I got to watch Dirty Dancing about 20 times, which is the last time hopefully I'll have to see that movie. But so that was fun. That kept me busy for about 3 weeks there. And then, like I said, the rest of the time I've been doing some touring with Daryl Braithwaite. There's been some stuff in the recording studio at home as well, some songwriting, some mixing, some guitar sessions as well. I'm playing guitar on a guy's album at the moment, Tony Marks. And we've got a few more songs to do on that, which is like a really cool, I call it like a rootsy blues rock sort of Black Crowsy, that kind of thing. Like it's pretty cool. He writes good songs. So I've been sort of head down, bum up, working on that stuff too. And of course, I've been trying to keep myself busy in any free moment that I have. I'm still editing together the footage from the Corner Hotel show that we did for the celebration of Eddie Van Halen, which is going very well. It's just been slow because I've been so busy, and my Final Cut Pro skills are rudimentary. So even though I've done it, a lot on and off over the years, but I just don't do it enough, like every week, so that I'm quick at it. So anyone that uses video editing software knows that it's really hard to sort of pick at it for an hour and then leave it, and then come back a few days later and then pick at it for an hour again and leave it. So I haven't really been able to get much momentum up on it. And of course I'm doing the audio mix as well. So, but it's coming up great. I can't wait to show everyone, of course. So, so that shouldn't be too far away.
Awesome.
Oh, that's fantastic. Please keep us in touch and informed with how you're going to do that, and whether or not it's going to be something that you're going to put on your website or on your Facebook page or your YouTube. Yeah. I'm sure people are going to be chomping at the bit to get to that. I just want to do a quick little shout out here. Holly Lewis has got this brilliant comment here. Hoss equals overachiever.
No, not really. It just sounds good when you put it all together in one long sentence like that. But when you string it over 2 months, it's not that much. But thank you, Holly. I appreciate the thought.
But we're all inspired us by how much you seem to achieve. It's it's an amazing thing, to be honest with you, because most people have trouble getting out of bed these days, and you're getting out of bed, gigging, recording, doing all these other sessions and everything. It's amazing.
I'm definitely getting out of bed later than normal. I mean, I really like the mornings. If I can, I'll be up at dawn, but the last week or two, I just haven't been. I've never been one of those musicians that would stay up to like 2, 3, 4 in the morning and then sleep in. There's something about the mornings that I really love,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things that people have to remember, and Hoss will be modest about this, is that he does make a living out of being a musician, and in this current world, you're doing all these different things, aren't you, Hoss? To make sure that there's an income coming in. It's not as if it's just the Simon Hosford band and you're out gigging and doing that gig around the world. Not yet, anyway. But you've got all these other different things that you have to do to keep functioning as a professional. But also, one thing that always amazes me when I talk to guys like yourself, Hoss, is like, how do you focus when you're going from one gig to another gig, Brad? When you're in this band and then you're in this band, and then it's like, wow, it can't be easy, guys.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit tricky to change gears all the time. I find that if I am working a lot in the studio, it's like anything, you sort of build this momentum up. And then I love working in the studio, but if I haven't done it for a while, if I've been on the road, even just that first day where, like, say, if I haven't been in there for 3 or 4 weeks, turning everything on, firing up Pro Tools and stuff. It's just like, oh, how does this go again? You know, it really, especially, I find especially the studio touring gigs doesn't matter. I can sort of pick up a guitar and do that anytime. But the studio stuff, I lose momentum if I'm not in it constantly. So that bit is a bit tricky, that's for sure. For me anyway, you know.
No, I'm the same, Hoss. I mean, to be honest with you, I've got that many sort of unfinished Pro Tools sessions that, you know, and at the moment I haven't been doing much, but I you know, the other day I started opening up some sessions to work out what I'm going to be doing moving forward, and I'm just overwhelmed at how much I've actually got to try and do because, like you said, you get a flow going, and to actually stop and have to start again, that's like re-triggering something internally as well. It's you got to remember how to do this, do that. Well, what even down to what plugin did I use? What EQ mod? You know, it's what compressor. Like it's
I agree, bro. To have a flow with that stuff because there's so many tiny things. Like, you know, like the settings on plugins and how you've routed it. Like I've got some outboard gear too that I route to, and I might have moved the settings, and it's just like, and everything just feels slow to get those gears turning again, doesn't it? You know, it's, I think the studio is something to really be quick at it. You've got to be doing it kind of every day. You need to get a roll on. And what about you, Brad? What's been happening with you, fella?
Oh, for me, geez, a lot less than you. Just been obviously still recovery phase, and
how's that going? Are you feeling all right?
Oh yeah, look, thanks for asking. I guess 10 weeks along since I had my stroke, and small improvements every day. I think maybe catching COVID was a bit of a setback. Some of my ailments and things that were like, you know, sort of feeling a lot better since I had the stroke were coming back a little bit, like my right hand in particular, a bit tingly and pins and needles and you know, a little bit sort of numbness in the right side of my face again and stuff like that. But all in all, look, I'm going to physio, I'm going to acupuncture, I'm going to GP, a neurologist. I've, you know, a couple of weeks ago, I had an MRI done, and you know, everything came back looking very positive in the sense where there's no underlying issues and no residue or anything like that. So that was a good positive answer from the neurologist, and I got some nice photos of my brain, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I what I'm saying is, I think catching COVID, it sort of brought some of those ailments back, especially the neural fatigue, which is something that I've never experienced before until, you know, like, it's a hard one to explain. It's a nerve fatigue. It's not a muscle fatigue. It's really bizarre. But look, everyone, you know, my physio said to me yesterday that you know, 10 weeks I've done pretty good. Like I'm progressing leaps and bounds compared to what most people do. So I think a lot of it comes down to I've just, you know, I'm blessed that you know, before I had it, I was very fit and healthy, and B, just drive. I haven't stopped. I'll be honest with you, Hoss. You know, playing guitar, I've been playing up until the point where I start making mistakes all the time, and then I put my guitar down, because I don't want that to be the norm. When I start making mistakes, I don't want it to be, you know, that's what you're doing. I want to stop that and come back. I've been playing guitar an hour or more every day, just practicing, and a lot of technique stuff, not even songs or anything. Just so my playing, I'm smiling while I'm playing again, which is good. But I've still got to, you know, I still want to push myself a lot harder. But I've maybe stupidly or not, I don't know, but I've committed to a gig in 5 weeks' time. So that's a pretty good result to come out of and back gigging in 5 weeks from now. So let's see. It's a theatre show, so I have to put on and play well. So let's just see.
Yeah.
Things, you know.
I think it's good that you've got that 5-week goal too, because it might push you a little bit harder than you otherwise would push yourself if you didn't have that. And obviously you feel like 5 weeks is a pretty reasonable amount of time. So yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I think it's also good too about our community, and I think Keith has put a nice comment up here about wonderful family. You know, when we look back and see that, and look, guys, Hoss is going to do a shout out soon, but Bent Tom, you know, who had some health issues recently, and Holly again having health issues. You know, so you know, we're a tight community, aren't we, guys? And you know, it's not that everybody wants to be nosy, but, you know, people certainly do have concerns and care for people, you know, because inherently we want the best for people, you know. So, yeah, and yeah. And I've said it before. If Brad can be an example for somebody going through what Brad went and being fit and being strong and fighting and being determined to get back up so that he's gigging in 5 weeks' time, Hoss, you know, brilliant. Well done, brother.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Hoss. You know, I don't take all the positive comments and feedback and support I've had from people lightly. I've been getting it certainly helps with the recovery, because like even down to people that I don't really know sending me messages that I admire, like people that I've looked up to for years, my guitar heroes. Some of them are messaging me going, "Oh, you're doing so well, and can't wait to, you know, see what you come up with," and stuff like that. So it kind of pushes you a little bit more. So thank you to everyone who's you know, sent me a lot of messages. I'm just a pretty, you know, simple bloke, and I take a lot of that stuff. You know, it certainly helps. It encourages me to keep going and pushing forward, instead of going, "Oh, I can't do this. I'm just going to accept this." You know, what I'm getting at is the vibes. Certainly, I feel them, and it certainly helps. That's 100%. Yeah.
Great. Hey, Charlie, there. Just to answer your question real quick. Yeah, we've got plenty more Daryl Braithwaite shows coming up around the country, but at the moment, I think there's nothing booked in Melbourne. But where are you at the moment? Because maybe you're not in Melbourne at the moment anyway. We've got some in Queensland next week, and then Adelaide or somewhere the week after. But yeah, Charlie, let me know where you're at, fella, and I'll let you know if we're doing any there. But maybe now, since I'm talking to Charlie anyway, is a good time for a shout out, because we've got a beautiful bunch of people in this chat. We really do. And Andrew was saying before, you know, Bent Tom is another one that's been through the ringer. So Tom, you know, I love you, brother. Always sending hugs. Hope you're doing okay. Yeah, Bent Tom, for me, for anyone that doesn't know, was sort of initially I was on a show. I think it was, I can't remember if it was Fruitcake Tony or maybe even Ben Coombs. But anyway, and through time, I sort of got introduced to this YouTube podcast community. So thank you, brother. And of course to you as well, Andrew. So Bent Tom in the chat, Helene O'Hara. Hi, Helene. How you doing? You made a comment before. I can't remember what it was, but I was laughing.
About getting blunt big raises for you guys.
Yeah, about cutting ourselves with bleeding out with big razors. We've got the one and only Mikey Mojo. Hey, Mikey, how you doing, brother? Thanks always for all the Eddie Van Halen Insta love. I think I saw Jay Hannon here in the chat as well. He's in the chat as 7/8. Hey, Jay, how you doing, brother? It's been a long time. I hope you're doing good. Helen Winter, you've got Robert Ranford, Jason Tong of Headfirst, say that again, Headfirst Amplification. And actually, Jason has just put up his new head the Alta 100 on his YouTube channel, and you should hear that thing. That is for all the guitarists. Go and check out that. And I was actually almost going to be catching up with Jason later today for a coffee, but I got a crazy early flight tomorrow to get ready for and stuff to head over to Western Australia, actually, where it's going to be lovely and warm. It's going to be 30 degrees, Brad. So you'd be that, because it's definitely not 30 degrees in Melbourne. And for anyone in Fahrenheit, 30 is just a beautiful 85. So I'm going to have a few days in 30 degrees / 85 degrees. It'll be finally good to kick the jeans off and put the thongs on and maybe hit some water if we get some time. But so that'll be good. We got and Charlie, I said hello to you. Hey, brother. Johnny Heartbreaker. Hey, Johnny. We got Holly Lewis. Hey, Holly. Another person's been through the ringer, but that's the beautiful thing about this community. Keith Campbell, the one and only, most knowledgeable man out there. Hey, Keith, how you doing? Sandra Picconi, I saw in the chat early, but I know she said she maybe couldn't stay. So, hey, Sandra, if you're listening. John ZD351, how you doing, brother? And he's saying he's in isolation at the moment with COVID. So, so it's all happening. Well, I'll tell you, if we're all in isolation, it wouldn't matter because we'd just be sitting on our computers doing this anyway. So that's the best way to spend isolation. But I hope you're feeling all right, brother. I hope it's not knocking you around too much. We got Tim Thomas. Hey, Tim. We got Charmaine over in the UK, which is like 4 a.m. I think it's like crazy o'clock over there. So thanks. And of course, the one and only Gretch Zeppelin is in the chat as well. And we've got a few more actually. We've got Leo Safko. Hey, Leo, who's just joined in. Oh, and I missed Isa Frusciante. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I never know how to pronounce that surname, or maybe it's Isa if it's Spanish or Italian. Let me know if I'm pronouncing it right. Is that how you guys pronounce it? Frusciante?
Yeah, that's how I pronounce it.
Yeah, me too. I have heard some people pronounce it Frusciante, but I think that's just because some people read it literally. But yeah, let me know, Isa, because I like to get these things right. And I think that I've covered it for now, but I see a few people that have just jumped in. So Chris Hunter, hey Chris, how you doing? Yeah, I think that covers it for now. And of course, I'll do another shout out at the end for anyone that's jumping in from now.
Awesome. Bro, we need to probably think about doing a show with Jason too at some stage. If you guys want, we need to organise and maybe get him on if he wants to talk about amps. Love to do that. Can we do that maybe later on?
I would love to do that. And I'm going to be catching up with Jason hopefully next week if we can coordinate that. And so maybe we can, certainly if we can't do a show next week with Jason, we could work out a time to do it because I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, that'll be fantastic because I think that's been something that's been at least, feathered around for a little while. But awesome, bro. Always appreciate the fact that you guys always get a good shout out because that's what we always try to do here. Hoss, I just want to rewind a little bit and just talk about that corner bar gig. So obviously I've gone through and had a look at a lot of the comments on the videos that we've put here on our channel here. And I got to tell you, people have been blown away, Brad, by, obviously what people have seen. Some people were at the gig and have put some awesome comments. So clearly the footage that you're working on, are you going to make anything like that available for a commercial purchase? Is that something you're thinking about because it was such a like a major deal, I think, for Australia? Is that something that you're going to consider?
You mean like some sort of a product that you could like purchase properly? That sort of like officially?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think so. Obviously, when I originally was putting it together, it was just after Eddie. Oh, here we go. What's that? Isabella Ramos. Okay. Oh, I see. Got it. Well, then then hopefully I'm pronouncing John Frusciante right, which I think I am. But yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Isabella. When I first put it together was just after Eddie passed, and it was really just a memorial concert. I was never doing it even to make ticket money personally myself from it. I thought if I could cover the costs, cover the crew, cover the corner hotel and all of that stuff, then it would be a beautiful thing to do for all the people in Melbourne to come along and, sort of hug it out, so to speak. And then, of course, if we filmed it, then to put it on my YouTube channel so people that are not in Melbourne could see it. And then, as everyone knows, with all the COVID delays and we had to keep rescheduling the show like 4 or 5 times, really my whole idea of it was to still keep it as that, to keep it something that if the door ticket money would cover all my costs, I was going to be happy with that, because really I was doing it out of love for Eddie, like we all would. And so, no, I wasn't thinking about packaging. I mean, it looks and sounds really good enough to do it. But I guess in my mind, it still feels like a memorial concert, even though it was, 2 years later. So I'd feel a little bit feel funny about selling it, perhaps. And of course, the songs aren't mine anyway. So I'd rather just put it up on my YouTube channel so that anyone can watch it whenever they like. And some of my other, I put snippets on Insta and Facebook, of course, But but look, that should be ready in a couple of weeks. I've got something that's taking up a bit more of my time as well. I've been asked to headline the Adelaide Guitar Show in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Doing basically the Van Halen 1 album again. They really wanted me to go over and do that. And so, and there's another amazing guitarist called Cam Blokeland who's going to be performing on the same night as well. And he's doing what would you call it? Like a mix of covers from Vai, Yngwie, Satch. So it's going to be just a full night of full-on guitar rock. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But of course, me and the boys have got rehearsals leading into that, and so between that and a couple of Daryl Braithwaite touring things and some sessions in the studio, I won't have too much time to finish it off probably in the next 2 weeks. But after that, my schedule kind of clears and I'm just going to block out a week and finish it off. So so the video of the Corner Hotel show won't be too far away.
Well, a lot of people want it on DVD, mate. Mikey and Keith are saying, come on, they'll buy it.
Look, if anyone actually wants it on a DVD, I'll happily burn it on a DVD for you from like the master file, which the quality might be a little bit better than YouTube. But I would just do that and post it to you. I wouldn't want to sell it to you for that. So, but if anyone actually wants it on a DVD, please let me know. Just send me a message on my Facebook or Instagram, and I'll happily send you a DVD of it. No problem.
Awesome. I'm interested and intrigued about this Adelaide Guitar Show. So that's a big deal for Australia, because we even hear about that here in New Zealand, Brad.
Yeah, well, obviously Hoss doing the Melbourne Guitar Show. It only seems pretty normal to go across to Adelaide and do it there too, Hoss. Would that be the norm for you, or is this the first time?
No, I did do the Adelaide Guitar Show a bunch of, how long ago was obviously pre-COVID, but I think even a couple of years before that. And I had a blast. Yeah, it's actually a pretty big deal in Australia. For anyone not in Australia, Adelaide's one of the smaller cities, but they're very, very well known for all their festivals, whether it's like a food and wine kind of thing, because they make incredible wine in South Australia. And they have like jazz festivals that'll run for a whole week. So it's a really beautiful cultural city, and the people there are awesome. So the Adelaide Guitar Festival is run by a classical guitarist called Slava Grigorian. And for anyone interested in classical guitar, Google him and you will see some frightening stuff. He's regarded as one of the best in the world. And he's such a sweet guy. And so after he saw the YouTube video of what I did at the Melbourne Guitar Show, because there's been no guitar shows for a couple of years now, when he put this one together, he said, man, I would love you to come over and headline the rock night, you know? So, and it's not just rock for a week, but they've got like, I think it's 4 or 5 days, and it's classical guitarists, it's jazz guitarists, it's fingerstyle guitarists. Like, it's really a very kind of well-rounded stylistically festival. And so rock, because he's a classical guitarist, I guess rock is sort of the smallest part of it, where usually with a guitar festival, rock and blues kind of make the biggest part of it, you know? And then there might be some classical guitar stuff and whatever. But yeah, so that's how it came about. And I have done the Adelaide Guitar Festival once before, and it was a blast. So it'd be really awesome to go back there and just jam out some Van Halen.
So are you taking the boys with you? You taking the rap bags with you as well? You guys are going to be jamming everything into the bus or into the van and cruising over there?
Adelaide's close enough that you could cruise over it, you know, in a van or something. I think it's about 6.5 hours if you don't stop, and then obviously about 8 hours if you stopped for lunch or whatever. But no, we're flying. We're going to fly over them, and it's going to be pretty wham bam. I would have liked to go a couple of days early and maybe check out some of the other things, but the way it's worked out is that they're basically flying us on the day of the gig and then flying us back the next morning. So it'd be pretty wham bam, but it'll still be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Oh, well, I would love to get across there. I don't think I could, but I'm sure it's going to be an amazing show, Hoss. Yeah. Are you going to potentially film it or anything like that? Do you think there's anyone there that can film it? Or is there a service there that can do that?
I'm not going to, but I have no doubt. I don't know if they would film it like multicam and do it all like that, but I'm sure that they'll be taking some record of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Those gigs, they must be so stressful for you because, you know, the crowd are doing this.
Well, that's what you get at a guitar festival. In fact, on the Melbourne Guitar Festival video, so about 50% of the comments are about us, and the other 50% about what a lame crowd, you know. But I don't think they understand that it's basically an office room with a high ceiling and like no lighting. So, you know,
well,
this will be.
I take offense to it. When they say the crowd's lame, I take offense to that because I was in the crowd. So.
No, but they didn't obviously mean specifically you, Brad, although a couple of people did say Brad specifically was lame in the crowd. Yeah. No. So I think this one's going to be different. And also we did at the Melbourne one, that was like the middle of the afternoon. So we had sunlight coming in the windows. It was a pretty strange vibe, but you know, look, I've been around long enough to know exactly what I was walking into on that one. And you know, the room wasn't dark and, you know, and everyone's sitting on chairs with their arms folded. And so that's just what it is. So you just got to go out there and go, we're just going to try and, you know, blow the roof off the joint anyway and have fun on stage like the four of us, which is what we did. And I think this one's going to be different though. It's in like a proper theater, you know, like an enclosed theater and with like a lighting rig and stuff. So
nice.
So I won't really know exactly. I can't picture it right now, but I'll know when I get there. But I believe that's what it is. So, but it'd be great. It's fun to be invited over there, and it's like I said, it's a week-long thing, and it's a pretty big deal for guitarists of any style. So it'd be great.
Yeah, I think it's also important too to point out as well, guys. If you're following Hoss on Instagram, go and check out Jerry, who's been on our show when we did the drumming show on Alex Van Halen, and also Jason as well when we were talking about Michael Anthony, because these guys again have been on our show, giving us some intricate details on the different techniques that these guys in the band did behind and along with Eddie. But Hoss, you know, they've been busy too. You know, Jerry's been busy since, you know, you guys have been out of lockdown. Jason's been busy. It's just, I sit back and have a look and go, my gosh, you know, you guys have a great reputation in this part of the world, Melbourne, for being like the entertainment city of Australia. And when you look and see what these guys have been up to, my gosh, it's like how does Jason get time to go to the footy?
He does like going to the footy as much as he can. But yeah, look, Jason and Jerry are also the rhythm section for Daryl Braithwaite. So, which is kind of comical to us because, of course, we sort of feel like Daryl Braithwaite's got a Van Halen style rhythm section behind him, which obviously we don't play that way when we play with Daryl. But I still think it's funny when we all turn up to the airport together and we go, hey, we could do a Fair Warning show. Daryl just needs to learn the words. But well, actually, Daryl was originally going to be coming to the Corner Hotel show, and one of the things that we do in the set is he does All Day, All Night, the Kinks, and for any deep diving Van Halen fans will know that back in the club days, they actually played that song All Day, All Night, as well as You Really Got Me, and we pretty much play it in the same key, the same tempo and everything. So we were saying to Daryl, which is probably why he didn't come in the end. We said, dude, if you come to the show, you've got to get up in the encore and sing the Kinks with us, And probably shouldn't have forewarned him. I think we scared him off, but nevertheless.
You gave him fair warning, Hoss.
So what I do in Daryl's show, which actually is mostly from Daryl's prompting, because I'd never dare start ripping Van Halen solos over somebody else's music. But every now and again, he'll sort of prod me and go, come on, play some of that Van Halen stuff. So when we do All Day, All Night, we sort of play it pretty closely to the way that the Kinks do it with that sort of energy. But as soon as it hits the solo, I play Eddie's You Really Got Me solo because it's the same changes pretty much. So
you sneaky guitar player, you.
So I have snuck some Van Halen into my other touring gigs, but well, you have to, don't you? What are you going to do?
Okay, I've got to ask this question, bro. I suppose and I can hear people in the chat saying, "Why isn't someone asking this question?" Or "Why isn't Hoss talking about this?" And we've mentioned it a few times, Brad, haven't we, over the months that we've had Hoss on with us on the 5150 show. Plans to take the gig stateside. Anything hatching?
There is actually something hatching. I've been talking to a manager/producer guy in your neck of the woods, actually, Andrew, in New Zealand, and he already runs a couple of other shows, or is involved with a couple of other shows. One of them is the music of Cream, and it's a show that goes all around the world, and they play the music with Cream. With like big video screens and the whole thing of like original footage of the band. And I believe it is every member in the band is a son of one of the original members. So
correct. And the guitar player is the nephew of Eric Clapton.
Nephew, that's right. But they're all related. And I think that's such a wonderful idea. I think that's so cool. I haven't seen that show, but if it comes through town, I'll definitely go and check it out because I'm really curious as to how that would be. So he's involved with that, and he's also involved in the Led Zeppelin experience with Jason Bonham. So he's involved with that too. So he's contacted me, and we're talking about what kind of show, what would the show look like to do something that would tour internationally? Because if we were going to do it. We wouldn't want to do it as just small clubs, because, and I think obviously the touring costs would then outweigh what you'd make on the ticket sales at small venues. But if we could do it in theaters, say like 2,000 seat theaters, and do it big with video screens, and maybe have, interspersed here and there some interviews with the guys from back in the day, the late 70s, early 80s, and make it more of like an experience rather than just a gig, then, I think we're sort of, we're throwing it around at the moment. But yes, look, I've had so many beautiful comments on the Melbourne Guitar Show YouTube video about people over in the States saying, please bring it over here, and people in Europe and the UK as well. Nothing would please me more than to be able to play that music all around the world. So we're talking about how that would look and the logistics of it, basically. So that's the long answer. The short answer is yes.
So I've seen that Cream tribute band twice here in New Zealand, and they do it fantastically. So Hoss is correct. They use a lot of lights and project a lot of images, so you get different album covers from different eras. You get the band members from Cream being cast on. And what's really good about the band is that they don't go out of their way, Hoss and Brad, to look like, they're not there to look like Clapton, in 68 or whatever. In fact, the guitar player plays your guitar, Brad. He plays an Axis. That's his number one guitar. He plays a Van Halen Axis on that. And I think the drummer is a son, and the bass player is a son too. So Hoss is right. So if you guys are going to go and do something like that, Hoss, with Van Halen 1 and have the album cover sort of on the back of the and play as authentically as it can, because they sound pretty good. This Cream band sounds pretty good, mate. Good. And yeah. So and it's just it's mind blowing.
Yeah, and that would be our thing too, is that we wouldn't be the kind of tribute show which is where we dress up to look like the original members. It'd be more about, and which you've already seen me do anyway, it's more about us just looking like ourselves, and then it being more about us playing the music as authentically as we can, and somehow tying that in with, as you say, Andrew, maybe having the album cover on huge screens behind us as we play Dirty Movies or whatever the song is that we're going to be playing. And I don't know. I'm into two minds about the idea of breaking up the flow of the music with interviews with the guys on screens. But maybe if it only happened a couple of times and there was a reason for it, because then you went into playing 2 or 3 songs in a row that they were just talking about writing, then that might make sense. But yeah, it'd definitely be fun to do. That's for sure. Really, really would.
I'm gonna get some photos. I'm gonna look for some photos and just put some photos up. But so it's the son of Jack Bruce and Ginger Baker and Eric Clapton's nephew that play in that band. So some guys are quite interested in having a look at him play that Ernie Ball. So I'll dig some photos up, guys.
And Charlie's saying if it's worth doing in spandex. I'm sorry, Charlie. I don't think I'll be wearing spandex, but I could wear some flare denim jeans like Eddie used to in 78, 77. I could do that, and I could possibly contemplate some parachute pants, but we'll have to see about that as well, But there'll be no wig, so don't stress about that. And Bella, yes, we will definitely. Nothing would make me happier than to go to Brazil, For anyone that doesn't know, I've actually toured Brazil 4 separate times already with Men at Work, and I love that place. It is awesome. In fact, there was a comment in the chat, and I forget who from, someone saying, will I be playing any more with Colin Hay from Men at Work? Colin and I keep in touch all the time, and he's one of my very favorite people in the world. All the touring I did with him as Men at Work or solo as Colin Hay were just so much fun, and I met so many wonderful people. But Colin either pretty much plays solo acoustic now and does a theatre where he'll play his songs, some Men at Work, but a lot of his newer acoustic stuff, and tell stories road stories and stuff in between, which if you get a chance to see him do that is one of the greatest shows that you'll see, and he's very, very funny. And when he's touring with a band, he's actually got a band from, I can't remember which country specifically, but I believe most of them are South American, and so he tours with them now.
So I'll get rid of that comment there. So this is pics from a show that they did in Perth in 2017. So there he is there, Brad, with his EVH Music Man.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's Robin Ford there as well. There's Jack Bruce's son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, in fact, I think on your YouTube page, I think there's a couple of clips of you playing in Brazil.
there is if anyone wants to see what I look like with hair, go onto my YouTube channel, and there is someone sent me some super old footage of playing on one of Brazil's biggest TV shows called Fausto, I think it is. Actually, Bella in the chat there is Brazilian. She'll be able to correct me on any of this stuff. But and so it's me. It was the very first tour that I did with Men at Work. So it was 1996, and I've got sideburns and hair and wearing an oversized. Oh, he's trying to find. So if anyone wants to hear me playing some Men at Work stuff in Brazil in 1996, it's on my YouTube channel. It's the video. The quality is pretty poor, but you'll totally get the idea.
I'm going to find it. Here it is. I got it. Hold on. Here it is. So we go share screen. Share the audio. There he is. Can you guys see that?
You're not going to play it, are you? There he is.
What a handsome dude.
What about the guitarist, though?
That's what Great song.
Yeah, it really is. It really is a great song.
That was awesome, brother. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I had to put that up there where you were talking about it, but phenomenal. 1996. My gosh, that's a long time ago, bro. And you don't look like you've aged one little bit, brother.
As
in fact, you look younger and more handsome now, mate.
You guys. Well, as the old South American guy says in Kill Bill, I must tell you, I am susceptible to flattery. So, thank you, guys. It's one of those things. I actually don't feel. I definitely feel wiser than when I was that age, but I don't feel that much older. Obviously I look older, like we all do, but it's funny, isn't it, how your brain sort of stops at a certain point, but your body just keeps getting older. But,
So just give us a bit of an insight. So, without giving too much information away. So, 96, you're playing with these legends, obviously, internationally. Was this the first time that you were headlining with an international act, or had you done that before? And what was your initial personal experience about having to do that with this band?
That was my first. I'm just trying to remember, because it was probably around the same time that I started touring internationally with Tommy Emmanuel tour. We went over and did the Catalina Island Jazz Festival, and it would have been around that time, but I can't remember which one exactly came first. But anyway, regardless of that, whichever one came first, the Catalina Island Jazz Festival over in California was very, very different to Brazil. That first tour we did of Brazil was just Brazil. We didn't go to anywhere else in South America. And it was 5 weeks straight. And we did pretty much every town that you could think of. And it was crazy because they were a #1 band in the mid-'80s in Brazil, but they never went there. So it was the first time that they toured there, even though they were #1. And it was only 10 years after their big hits. So,
correct.
I mean, Colin Hay was younger in that video than I am now, which is weird to me. But anyway, and I was only 20 when I went over and did that. So I had my 21st birthday at a show in Sao Paulo in front of 10,000 people. And anyway, I have to tell you, and I think someone in the chat was just saying the Brazilian crowds look awesome. The Brazilian crowds are second to none. They love music. They are passionate about life. They love their food. They love their dancing. And man, it was actually mayhem everywhere we went. I mean, we had people that camped out in the lobbies of every hotel for 5 weeks that just wouldn't leave. And we would turn up to a gig and there'd be so many people out the front and so much security that sometimes it would take us 30 minutes just to get the van inside the venue, you know. It was pretty mental. So for my first big tour, it was definitely an eye-opener. Let's just put it that way. But it was lots of fun. I got lots of wonderful memories. And then I was lucky enough that went so well. We ended up going back to South America about another 3 times or something while I was playing with Cole. So, yeah, wonderful audiences, great gigs. You know, I mean, I love that more tropical weather. And although in some places, I mean, we couldn't play for bugs and mosquitoes flying all over us. Like literally, we just had them. You had to just leave them on your face while you were playing because otherwise you wouldn't be playing. So because we did a lot of towns that were inland, like, you know, like quite into, I don't know if you call it the jungle exactly, but not on the coast. And it doesn't take very long, maybe only a 2-hour drive or something from leaving the coast of Brazil until it's pretty much like the Amazon, you know, in there. But yeah, so that was lots of fun. So I would be happy to get back to Brazil any day.
Hoss, these sort of gigs, I mean, obviously, like Colin isn't doing anything other than, like you said, solo shows, but has he ever spoken about doing larger shows again or anything like that with using you guys, including yourself again, or not?
No, not really. I think he's in a really, really great place at the moment. I mean, since Men at Work disbanded, and then obviously I sort of did that version that you're seeing is really just the only 2 original members were Colin and Greg Ham on the sax and flute. So really it was a kind of a Men at Work 2.0, you know. But since then it took him quite a while. It was a slow and steady rebuilding of his career as Colin Hay, not Men at Work. In fact, the more recent stuff that I did with him, which was still a while ago now, he just would not be billed as Men at Work because he didn't want to play a whole show of Men at Work songs. He wanted to be billed as Colin Hay so he could play all his solo album stuff as well. But the promoters, everywhere we went, just completely ignored him. And everywhere we went, it just said Men at Work on the thing. And as you can imagine, it was awful because you got 2,000 plus people in a room expecting Men at Work. And we might play 5 Men at Work songs, you know? So that never really went down very well. So there was a period where it was pretty frustrating for Colin to try and build his solo career, but he's done that now. And now he can, he can sell a 2,500 seat theater, just him and an acoustic guitar, just playing songs and telling stories. And I think he's pretty happy doing that too, because I think, you know, too much. And of course he still plays some Men at Work songs. And even when he plays with his South American band members, he'll play a bunch of Men at Work stuff. He'll play all the hits, of course, but I don't think he would want to go out as Men at Work again, you know?
Okay.
I think that's, you know, because there's, well, like anyone, you get older in life and you move on, and there's other ventures, you know?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That would have been a magical period to be part of that too, Hoss. That, you know, you should be grateful for that. That was that footage even made me excited for you just watching it. It was great.
Well, I mean, that was a TV show like what we would have had in Australia is Hey Hey It's Saturday or something, or maybe in America it would have been like a Letterman where you go on and you know, you're the band that plays a couple of songs at the end. But as you can see from that clip, I mean, they just jammed that studio full of people, and it felt like a concert, even though we were really just there on a TV show, you know. And so yeah, and the whole trip was like that. I mean, I got one of the guys in the band said, when we finished the 5 weeks, said, "I'm so jealous of you. You're the youngest. You've done hardly any touring, and you've had like every experience that you could possibly have in one tour." Like, I mean, some of which I can't really talk about, but one was I got mugged at knife point on Copacabana Beach in Rio, and so that was pretty scary because I was on my own and there was no people around. So that was just a stupid thing that I decided to leave the hotel and go for a walk. I got at a restaurant, I had a fish bone stuck in my throat and I couldn't breathe. Well, I mean, obviously I could breathe a little bit, but it would not go down, and it was huge. It was this huge bone just lodged in my throat, and the guys were actually about to call an ambulance because it had been in the throat. I was at the back in the kitchen in the restaurant for 20 minutes trying to choke on this thing, and then there was a bunch of other experiences, both good and bad as well, that happened all in that 5 weeks. And they were like, "Well, if that's how to tour, if as your first experience, you know." So it was lots of fun, but mainly like playing the music in front of. I think the smallest gig that we did on that whole 5 week run was probably 2,000, and then the biggest would have been around 10,000. We did 3 nights in a row to 10,000 people in Sao Paulo. So that'll give you an idea of how popular they were at that time still.
It's interesting you should say that, because a good friend of our channel, a guy called Richard Fox, he's been on a couple of shows. He's seen the Rolling Stones about 60 times. He's just spent the last 6 weeks in Europe watching the Stones. He's been to 7 gigs, and he's been on our show, Hoss, and he's seen the Rolling Stones in Argentina and Brazil, and he said it's crazy. He said you go there, and he likes to go up front, and he said it just gets so jammed and squashed that if your hands are like this, your hands are going to be like that for the whole concert. You cannot pull your hands down, you know, or you just can't do anything with your hands. And the crowd, when they move, you're moving with the crowd. He said you don't take anything with you. You don't take any money. You don't take wallets. You don't take phones or anything, because it won't be on you when you come out of the gig.
Yeah, that's right. Some of those audiences, it looked pretty chaotic out there. It was lots of packed rooms and packed places, and you know, that's what made it fun. But it was, I mean, not anything I've done since. Not when I've toured the States, not when I've toured Europe. Nothing I've done since compares to the crowds in Brazil on that first run. That was truly,
wow.
You know, I thought to myself, if this is only a tiny, tiny bit of what it would be like to, you know, back in the 70s or the 60s, you know, to tour with like a super famous band, then that must have been pretty wild, you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. But you know what though? I talk about the big rooms and Sao Paulo being 10,000 people and stuff, but truthfully for me, my favorite ones were all the smallest places, because they were more intimate and you could see everybody's face, and you could, and to this day, I still like that vibe more than the big gigs. I mean, when I was over with, playing in a band supporting Tina Turner around Europe for 3 months, all of them were stadiums, huge stadiums. We did Wembley and everywhere else. And, you know, people ask you sometimes, they go, it must be really nerve-wracking playing in front of that many people, because the logic is, well, if you'd be nervous in front of 100, how nervous would you be in front of 40,000, you know? But it doesn't really work that way. It's because you're so disconnected. You're so far away even from the front row, because you're on these huge stages and a big distance in front of you with like all, you know, the punter barriers and the security and all these other things. It's almost less nerve-wracking. There's a disconnect there, you know, whereas to me, when you're at a small club and there's like people standing like right in front of you and you can pretty much smell their aftershave or their perfume, they're the ones for me where I'll get more nervous, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done gigs, Hoss, many years ago, where I was supporting Jimmy Barnes at 10,000 people outdoors festivals and things like that. And I was not nervous at all at those gigs. I was more nervous at the smaller shows we did. It was because exactly that. They're right in your face. They can almost see what color underwear you're wearing almost because they're that close to you. Or, where when it's a crowd of 10,000, it's magic, but it's like you're part of a massive crowd. So you're just part of it. It's not like you're the main
Yeah.
entertainment in a small venue, if that makes sense. So
although I will say this, obviously my experience of crowds that size has been where I'm just sort of a guitarist for hire in a band. I think if I was the artist and they were the songs I wrote, like, you look at the footage of Freddie Mercury at Live Aid doing the call and response with the crowd. Now, I think that would feel different to playing a club, 100%,
Oh,
Or you look at Van Halen at the US Festival, and David Lee Roth just standing there with his mouth open for like 5 minutes, just looking at the other guys in the band like, really? Can you believe this? I think if you knew that if it was my band and my songs, I think it would feel very different, but probably not more nerve-wracking, just more special, And Charlie, if it's to answer the question on the screen, I have to think about it, but could it be Vision? Charlie, tell me if I'm right on that. I think it was called Vision. Anyway.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, man. I can't wait to hopefully see some footage from the Adelaide Guitar Show.
Well, soon, like I said, I'm going to be too busy to top and tail it in the next 2 weeks now. Sorry, did you say the Adelaide Guitar Show?
Yeah, just where people were sharing things online and tagging you in it, and we get to see some sort of footage from it. Because
I hope so. But yeah, I'm not formally shooting it, but I'm sure that they'll have somebody there doing something, even if it's just for their archives. Yeah.
And obviously the Corner Hotel show, from my perspective, was I came along, a week or two after I had a stroke, and it wasn't like as enjoyable for me in the sense where I couldn't get in amongst the crowd. But I had a unique position where I was side of stage, and I think that in some ways or shape or form, that was probably more magical because I was seeing it from like a side of stage perspective, which you kind of feel like it's a band perspective when you're side of stage. So I could see, you smiling, looking across at each band member, and it was really, really good. And, all the guests you had up to come up and sing, just all of them just did such a magical job. It was,
well, to be honest with you, that's been my favorite part about editing the footage and doing the mix is that really I feel like the Melbourne Guitar Show was more about us, and this one was more about the special guests, and it had a different energy to it. I'm sure you'd agree, Brad.
Okay.
It felt like more of a celebration of Eddie, with a revolving door of incredible Melbourne musicians, rather than a sort of being like, oh, this is me doing my thing. It felt like more I was just the conductor of all these wonderful musicians. And that's what's been the thrill about doing the editing. And that's why I've been taking my time with it because once I put it up, it's up. So,
Yeah. No, we're looking forward to seeing that too, Hoss. No pressure, but hurry up, please.
But hurry up. Yeah. Get off your butt and do it. Hey, and we got Marcus Kerben in the chat. Marcus is a good mate of mine and a great guitarist. Hey, Marcus.
Hey, Marcus. Thanks for joining us. John's making a comment there where, it was pretty good from the rails too, so yeah.
He had the best spot in the house, mate. I saw him, I messaged him when I walked back in, and I said, where are you? And I looked across, and as I looked across, I saw him. He goes, over here, and he was up against a rail. I was like, I said to my girlfriend, well, there's no chance John's moving from there, so we're staying here.
Thanks, John. Yeah. And Keith, yes, and Mike, definitely, like we were talking about before, I'm definitely making plans to try and bring it to the States. in a way that we can make it really, really cool. So that's what the talks are at the moment.
Awesome.
That promoter
awesome.
you were talking about, that you've been talking to, I did see the Jason Bonham Led Zeppelin experience, and that was phenomenal. The way that it was promoted, done. It was, even down to watching Jason Bonham on the drums, playing with his dad on the drums on the big screen behind him.
Yep.
And then they showed footage of Jason as a young kid playing a Little Richard song, which is in The Song Remains the Same. I think it's Tutti Frutti or Rudy, or I can't remember what song it was. But he's hitting the sticks while his dad's like playing the hand drums. It's just, but what I'm getting at is the promoter obviously put a big budget together for that, which hopefully they do the same for you, Hoss.
Yeah, that's his idea. That the reason we've been actually talking about it for a while now. But the reason that it hasn't happened is because, apart from the fact that he also had to go over to the States with the Cream guys and do it, but we've really been careful to do it properly, and really, I mean, there's no mad hurry. When we feel like we've nailed down the concept really, really well, then we'll do it. Hey guys, can you excuse me for a second? I got something beeping at me in the kitchen. I'll be right back.
No problem.
Don't burn that kitchen down, mate.
Yeah.
Don't burn that kitchen down.
We're going to wrap it up soon, though, anyway, folks. But I like the idea that we're going to get together, Brad, Hoss, and I, and we're going to look at having a weekday time slot for the 5150 show, Brad. It just makes sense because Saturday now, with you guys gigging, you're going to be back on the road soon, so Saturday afternoons for us or Saturday evenings is just going to make it difficult. But during the week, certainly, mate, I'm all up for that.
Yeah. Look, I was in a position to get out of work a little bit earlier today, which is quite handy. So not sure I can do that every week, but look, we'll work something out, and be definitely good to catch up with the crowd at this time of the day too. There's a fair few people sort of jumping in that normally probably watch the show back later, more so than have the opportunity to watch it live. So it's great to have you guys on board as well. It's great.
Yeah. We always appreciate the fact that people jump in and tune in and want to contribute to the show. But look, I got to agree with you, bro. If Hoss takes this gig to the States, if they're going to do that same concept as the Cream tribute and Led Zeppelin, it's going to be a killer, bro. It's just, it's going to be fantastic. It's got that visual appeal, which is so important to an act now, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. Hey, just sort of popped into my head while you were talking there, Andrew. The subscriptions. Where are we sitting at for subscribers now?
We've got 50 to go before we get 4K.
Wow, guys. Look, thank you so much to everyone who's contributed to sharing the channel and helping us grow. I mean, doesn't seem that long ago that we were pushing for 1,000. It just seems really, really like not that long ago. So thank you guys so much for subscribing and helping us get them. So,
yeah, it's really, really wonderful. Thank you, everybody.
Well, I think it goes to prove, though, guys, doesn't it? That having content is good, and we've said this before, haven't we? Once you reach that 1,000 mark, that threshold, that's a benchmark that's clearly important as far as YouTube goes, Hoss. Once you reach that benchmark, then they start doing things for you. But we certainly appreciate it, and we get a lot of views on our shows as well too. So yeah. And when Brad, you said it a couple of weeks ago. We're just ordinary guys. We're just getting together, talking about music. Hoss, Hoss is the superstar.
No, not at all. And I'm glad that we might be wrapping it up soon because I can't talk about myself any longer than I have.
We're gonna cruise soon, bro. But I was just saying while you were going to check what was in the oven,
There actually was nothing cooking in the oven, which is why it was so weird that something in the kitchen kept beeping at me. So it's all right. Disaster averted.
Okay. You left the fridge door open?
No, but it was the fridge. But I won't go. I won't go into it. But let's just say user error, as always,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. But I do look forward to. We're going to work out a time and a day for us to come back and join you guys with the 5150 show during the week. I think it makes perfect sense, Hoss, and that way we don't have to put any pressure on you and Brad when you guys are back on the road, because that's your love. What we do on YouTube is always going to be second fiddle to what keeps you guys alive, and that's playing music live.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, maybe before we bolt, if everyone in the chat can put a good day and a good day and time that they think would be cool, that doesn't clash with any other shows, we'd be very curious.
Yeah.
And bear in mind where we are, it's Friday. You guys in the States, you're still in tomorrow.
That's okay, but they can just put the day, you know what I mean, like the day and time that works for them, and we can figure it out from there. But Holly's saying Mondays is good, which would make it Tuesday afternoon for us. That'd be Monday evening for them.
Yeah.
Might work well. It might work well.
That could work. Monday's a good vibe. But yeah, we'll definitely figure out something that works for everyone. Obviously, if it's afternoon here and then like after the working day over on the other side of the pond, then that works great for everybody. Unfortunately for you in the UK, Charmaine, and anyone else, there's probably not much chance of it working out awesome for you, because I think, what is it now? It's like 5:30 a.m. Ouch.
Yeah, it's never going to work out well for people in Europe, bro, unfortunately.
but us Aussies don't care about the UK anyway, because they dumped us down here in the first place, right? So that's what you get. So now you get Australian, New Zealand and Australian shows with a shitty time zone. So there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord, that's getting political. And they've got a new prime minister they've got to sort out too, because the old one, he's tossed the job. He's tossed it in. So, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. But like we do with keeping things light and fluffy on this show, not getting too deep and getting involved in YouTube drama and stuff like that. Let's not get involved in politics online either.
No. YouTube dramas?
I didn't know that was it. Tell me what you're talking about. No. It's all good.
Oh, YouTube dramas. Look. We love everybody on the 5150 show, guys. And
we're lovers, not fighters.
Yeah. We're just here to talk and hang out with you guys. And like Brad said many times, if you guys want to be part of our community, if you want to attach your show to anything that we do, we'll help anybody, Hoss. We'll help anybody. If someone wants to do a new program on YouTube, we'll do everything that we can to help you, won't we?
Absolutely. Well, you will, Andrew. I won't, but you will. Yeah.
Well, we're a collective. We collaborate on this channel. We collaborate.
Of course. I'm only mucking around, of course. But hey, but before we go, we should really also say congratulations to Wolfie, shouldn't we? Really?
Oh, yes. Yes, we mentioned to do that, and I'm glad you remembered, because every time you see someone happy and they're in love, and it's a blessing to them, and congratulations, Wolf.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. He's got engaged, and I think I heard that they've been together for a while now, 4 or 5 years or something. So she'll call him Wolfie, and he'll call her Wifey.
That's it.
Oh,
boom!
Wolfie and Wifey. Oh.
Sorry.
No,
that's good. That's good.
I'm glad you brought that up. Congratulations.
Awesome.
No worries.
Well, hopefully, guys, he's turned then. Hopefully, he's turned. What's another? He's turned what? Different streets. He's turned down a different street with this.
Yeah, I think so. It feels like it, doesn't it? And there's no more of those silly rumors about a thing that he's going to be doing with Alex. It's all of that sort of blown over as well, and it seems like he can just sort of get on with it.
Yeah. So he's looking at doing a another album. He's got his sights on that now. So that's something that he said he's looking at getting forward to back in the studio and working on the next album. So, all the power to him. That's great.
Yeah. And Brad's also going to mention to you guys too some homework for our next show too, and I'm going to attach that podcast to this video. So, do you quickly want to give a bit of a rundown on what that's going to be, please, bro?
Yes. Well, I mean, there's a lot to unpack, so I'm gonna have to go and listen to a lot of it again in preparation for the show. But Dave and Dave Unchained, it's the 1st of July. The podcast they did on the 1st of July. There's some really gold nuggets in there if you're a Van Halen fan. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Go and listen. Goes for about 3 hours, so I had to break it up into like 2 or 3 segments to listen to it. But there's enough in there to keep you sort of entertained, well and truly. Some of the information leading up to the last hour of the episode, for example, an inside source gave some information in an interview, and they didn't want to be announced who they were or anything online. But it sounds fairly truthful. It sounds fairly like the information there, a lot to do with David Lee Roth, a lot to do with they even talk about, another reunion tour with Michael Anthony at the end and all sorts of things, which wasn't necessarily the kitchen sink tour that everyone's been talking about. They were just literally talking about Roth, Michael Anthony, Alex, and Ed. So, and unfortunately, obviously we all know the end to COVID, sort of putting an end to Ed's treatments and whatnot, because he couldn't travel to overseas to get his treatments and stuff. So it ends pretty sad, as we know, but there's a lot in there to unpack and some great gold nuggets. But at the start of the show is really good too. So go and have a listen. Well, Andrew will attach the link in the comments to this.
Do you know what the show is exactly called again, brother? I'm just trying to find it in my podcast app.
Van Halen Gold from Deep Throat.
Okay.
Dave and Dave Unchained, it's called.
Dave and Dave Unchained.
Dave and Dave Unchained. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's on Spotify. But we'll
attach the link. Apple. It's on all your. I mean, I don't usually spend a lot of time listening to long podcasts all at once. I break it up in 2 or 3 days, because I might go to the gym and I'll listen to a little bit, then listen to the next sort of hour the next time. But this one had me, and I ended up listening to the whole thing like in like an hour. Took a tiny break to have dinner, come back, and I went, I've got to hear the rest. Yeah.
That's it, bro.
Looks like that.
So go and have a listen to that, guys, and we'll all have a big discussion about some of the topics that are raised in that.
Well,
I'm going to do a shout out to Brad, because when we did our tribute show after Eddie passed, Brad, you said that probably one of the things that will happen sooner rather than later is that we'll probably start hearing a lot of the truths that will counteract a lot of the rumors that we've been fed over the years, perhaps deliberetely. So that's good. Yeah,
and look, I'm sure there's going to be more people coming out, but there's pretty. The first part of it is pretty amazing, and then the second part of the podcast is pretty amazing again. There's bits and pieces in there I was blown away, going, wow, that makes sense now, or when it's relevant to say the reunion of this using Wolf, and then Michael Anthony and Alex's feelings, and I won't spoil too much, but Alex, the way he feels about Sammy and things like that. There's certain reasons why things have never sort of come back, and the reunion they did with Sammy, for example, the last reunion they did with Sammy, well, that was meant to be with David Lee Roth, but then he didn't want to do it because of the state Eddie was in. So Alex still wanted to do a tour, so they got Sammy in. So all these little things that there might be knowledge now, but there's a lot in there that kind of cements it, if you make sense. So go and have a listen to that.
Go and have a listen. We'll come back, if not next week, the week after on the 5150 show. Hoss and I will be here with Brad, and we'll unpack it. We'll offer our opinions, bro, and everyone else can jump in the chat. What do you reckon?
I think that's beautiful. Let's exactly do that, and then it gives me a chance to have a listen to it all, and you as well, Andrew, and of course everyone in the chat. If you haven't already heard it, have a listen as well, and then you can join in our discussion about it with us. So we'd love to hear your thoughts as well.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome. Thank you, guys. I'm going to say, please give us a sub if you're watching a replay. If you haven't subscribed to us, please share our social media accounts with your friends. If you want to be part of our family, to go on our social media share list, give us a yell. I'm going to give Brad his final words, and then Hoss, maybe you can quickly scoot through and do a final shout out to everybody, and we'll cruise.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've had some people join us since the beginning of the show, so I'll do a final shout out.
Guys, look, it's been great catching up with you. Hoss, it's been too long. Good to see your face, man.
You too, brother. And you and I have been threatening to catch up for a cup of tea face-to-face for a while, so let's do that after the weekend when I get back.
100%, mate. I was just about to say that. I'm going to hold you to that now. So,
please do it.
We'll do it. And thank you, everyone, for joining us in the chat, and everyone watching this later. Thank you, guys. And like I said before about subscriptions, and when you're 4,000 subscribers, it's just mind-blowing to think that we're there. And we only ever really wanted to. We would have been happy with 1,000. So, times 4. Thank you so much, Hoss.
Yeah, awesome. Just second all of that, and third all of it from Andrew. Thank you so much for joining us. We had it. It was a very, very awesome, beautiful quality crowd in here, and a lot of people that I haven't seen in the chat for a while because I haven't been on the show. So great to reconnect. I'll do some shout outs now, and we'll say goodbye. Thanks for joining us. We had Greg Brown just join. Hey, Greggy, how you doing, brother? And Joe Capinti from Guitar House, who works on all my guitars. Hey, Joe, good to see you, bro. Hugh Caldwell, Jimmy Ray Hawkins jumped in, Marcus Kerben, Will Varela, Ellen Toll, Leo Safko, Chris Hunter, Bent Tom, Helene O'Hara, Mikey Mojo, Jay Hannon, Helen Winter, Robert Ranford, Jason Tong, Charlie, who's Gameland in the chat, Johnny Heartbreaker, Holly Lewis, Bella Ramos, Muto Gostosa, Keith Campbell, Sandra Picorni, Johnny Bean, John ZD351, Tim Thomas, Charmaine in the UK, and Gretch Zeppelin. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been really fun.
See you guys.
Ciao.